Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. Have you ever wondered why love still feels hard? I mean, even though you've done the work, you've built a great life, you're successful in everything else in your life except for this one department of love, dating, and relationships. I mean, today I really want to dive into a sneaky phenomenon that I see all the time with my clients over 40. I call them hidden love shields for later daters. And these are unconscious defenses that we put up to protect ourselves from pain, rejection, or repeating the past. Now, hear me out. Every age group has shields and defenses, but I find that when you're dating later in life, there are specific ones that surface due to more life experiences. I mean, the older we get, the more life has happened, which causes more layers of hurt and protection that build up over time. And while they may have helped you survive heartbreak or navigate years of independence, these shields can also block the very thing you're craving the most. And that is genuine, connected, lasting love. I always say it's almost like being in a tug of war with yourself. It's like you want this, but you also fear it. And so you fear what you want and you want what you fear. And that's what keeps you stuck. And so whether you're newly single, divorced, or have been on the apps forever with no luck, these hidden shields might be standing in your way. So I want to give you an example. I recently worked with a woman. She was around 52, and she was a successful financial analyst, which is also a problem within itself. No, I'm joking. I find that a lot of you who are, I'd say, IT people, financial people, anything that has more analytical type of thinking, you're more left brain heavy, and you have this propensity towards just overthinking, right? And just being outcome driven and all that. Well, on top of it, if you have a love shield and you are also this type of person, it can be really, really hard. Now, this woman was divorced for 6 years, and she came to me saying, I just can't seem to find anyone who fits the bill. Now, what's funny, on paper, she was doing all the right things. I mean, she was on the app. She was going to even like different events. She was open to dating. She was swiping. But every date ended with the same report. The guy was nice, but he wasn't the one. It was this thing that was wrong. It was that thing that was wrong. And so I asked her to kind of walk me through some dates. And no joke, she pulled out a spreadsheet. And I'm talking about columns like, okay, here's education and the career that he must have. And is he emotionally available and long-term viability and even like good with dogs? Like, I mean, she had a list yay long. And she was treating dating like a risk assessment. And underneath it all that logic, it was really fear, because what was on her list were things that she also didn't have in her previous relationship. And she was trying logically to ward against getting hurt again. And she had been blindsided in her marriage. I mean, her ex left abruptly after years of what seemed like stability. And that betrayal made her vow never to be caught off guard again. So now she screens everyone with a fine tooth comb, and at that point, she convinced herself that she was just being smart, when really she was protecting her heart, and the shield was on so strong that no one could even get in. And therefore she made herself, quote unquote, true. This is kind of the double bind that a lot of you might be putting yourself in. And it's a form of self-sabotage. Because here's the truth. You can't spreadsheet your way to chemistry. I mean, you can't use logic to figure out what works. So we worked on getting her out of her head, as much as possible, not for her career, but for love, and back into her more body feelings and heart. And I gave her a lot of different exercises, like doing a no checklist date, but rather what I call a chemistry analysis. And she wasn't allowed to talk about work or past relationships, but just to be more fun and flirty and really just connect. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing, we all connect with people that we like, not what you know. And she was just reading, and she was leading with a lot of this like kind of logic planned out stuff. And oh, and we also worked on being more spontaneous. I even had her schedule in her, I know it was like a scheduled spontaneity type of thing, but it worked. Like every Sunday was her spontaneous Sunday. And it was a day that she had no plans and that she had to go do something that was different for her and not so planned out. So all of this with, the work that she did, she started shifting and she met someone that she never would have dated before. He was actually more of an artist who didn't fit any of her boxes, by the way, but made her feel again. And she said, for the first time, I actually was enjoying the date instead of grading it. This is an example of just one of the several love shields that I'm going to go over today that pop up when dating later in life. So when you drop the love shields and you stop trying to predict love and just allow yourself to experience it, that's when the magic happens. So why is this all important? Obviously love shields holds a certain purpose and a protection for you, but here's the problem with it and why it's important, because you can't attract real love when you're hiding the real you. Love shields block connection by creating a version of you that might be safe, that might be what the other person wants of you, but it's not authentic. So therefore you attract lopsided relationships. And people who want the real you can't find you if you're emotionally camouflaged. That's the bottom line. The other reason why it's important is they keep you in dating patterns that just don't serve you. Shields often attract what you don't want. The emotionally unavailable partners, one-sided dynamics, or surface level connections. Until the shield drops, the pattern repeats. I always joke, I love those profiles that you see out there where people are trying to ward off against something they really don't want. So you'll see like a guy saying, no drama queens, or a woman saying, no assholes. Do you really think an asshole is going to read that profile and say, oh, well, I'm not a good match because I'm an asshole? Right? Like that just doesn't happen. So the very thing you're trying to ward against, you're actually creating. That's what's so interesting about the whole dynamic. And we all do this. I do this too. I'm not just, saying it's you listening. I have done this too. And especially when it's later in life. The other reason why it's important is that these love shields sabotage chemistry, trust, and vulnerability. Real love, again, isn't logical. It's not perfect, and it's not predictable. Shields kill spontaneity and the emotional depth that's created between two people. And those are the two most important ingredients for attraction and intimacy. The other thing is that they make you feel stuck and discouraged. So you might start believing that dating just isn't working. You hate dating. You're burnt out. There's something wrong with you. The truth is, it's not you. It's the armor that you're wearing. It's on so thick and heavy that it's weighing you down. And finally, they block you from receiving the very thing you want. Love requires receptivity, not control. And whether it's support, affection, compliments, commitment, you've built a wall so that you can't receive. And by the way, all of this is rooted in the past, right? All these shields have been developing over time. It's not something that's in the present. It's like a default button on a computer. We all default back to what we know, good, bad, or indifferent. And love shields are survival strategies that have formed from past pain. But you're not in that same place anymore. You're not the little girl or the little boy that grew up maybe with some messages growing up. You're not in that horrible relationship that you are traumatized from. Your love life can't move forward if you're still defending against wounds that no longer apply to you, quite
Mhm.
honestly. So, the bottom line is you can't selectively protect your heart. When you block out pain, you also block out the joy, the passion, and the love. And I know you want it. I hear so many of you on my free calls. And by the way, yes, I always offer free calls with these podcasts. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, like this is something I really am dealing with and it hits you, like hop on a private call with me so we can flush this out. Because it's not until you're aware of some of this stuff is when you can get past it. So dropping your shields isn't just about being reckless or just standing there naked without protection. It's about being brave enough to put the sword down and lift some of the armor off to let love in while trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. And I know what you're thinking. I know you're saying, okay, Kimmy, when this all sounds great. But how do I even begin to let my guard down? Like now I'm starting to be aware as you're starting to talk, but it's not like I go around consciously putting my guard on in the morning when I'm getting dressed, right? Is that part of your outfit that you intentionally put on? Or you might even be thinking, I don't need to change. It's just I need to meet the right person. Oh my God, do I hear this all the time? But the truth, the right person can't show up until you do, unshielded. You're going to keep meeting the wrong people over and over and over again until you start shifting and changing when you see different people and you attract different people. So you think you're just waiting for the right person to come along, but what if that person is waiting for you to show up without the armor? Think of it that way. Shields aren't something you consciously put on like lipstick or a blazer or a dress. They're built quietly over time through heartbreak, disappointment, and self protection. But here's the kicker: love can't reach you when you're wrapped in defense. The truth is, it's not about changing who you are. It's about revealing who you are without filter, without fear, or that facade. Because that's when the right person can finally see you and fall for the real you. Those are the authentic relationships, not the ones you shapeshifted into what you know the other person wants from you. So, you people pleasers, you over caretakers, all of you who keep trying to predict what other people want, and then you change who you are for that, you'll continue to attract those kind of takers or what I call lopsided relationships. But when you drop the love shields and you stop trying to predict love and just allow yourself to experience it, that's when magic happens. So, right now, I want to break down the 5 most common love shields that I see in later daters. And again, these still may apply to you if you're younger than 40. I'm just saying this is a little more typical as you have more life experiences. Okay. All right. I'd like for you to kind of just absorb all this. You may have more than one, obviously. You might have all 5, but there's usually one that pops out the most. And that's the one, if we do have a call together, I want to know about and how it's manifesting itself. All right. The first one is the I'm fine shield. And this is what I call hyper independence. It has developed from years of being self sufficient, maybe, after a divorce or widowhood or long term singledom. And you've just developed the belief that I don't need anyone. I'm perfectly fine. And this masks a deeper fear of vulnerability or disappointment, and it blocks intimacy by pushing others away or never letting them in. And it makes dating feel like a negotiation, not a connection. And you might even have the mantra, I'd rather be alone than in a horrible relationship. And you kind of keep saying that to yourself over and over and over again, that I can take care of myself. I don't need no man or I don't need no woman. It's that kind of thing. The second shield is the overanalyzer shield. Oh, do I see this a lot? The example that I gave in the beginning of this podcast, she was the overanalyzer. She ruled with her head more than her heart. And this is where you lean heavily on logic and lists and trying to figure it out instead of feeling it out. Often, I will say that you high achievers usually go into this defense because it's a natural defense for you. You're used to achieving in your career in the same manner. So you're trying to apply that to your love life, but it just doesn't work. It's often rooted in past relationship trauma where emotion once led to pain. So you learned, like you maybe opened up your heart at one time and you got hurt, and now analysis tries to protect you. So you might sabotage an early connection by turning dates into interviews. Like you don't want to get too close. So you kind of deflect or you ask surfacey questions. Look, chemistry cannot be calculated. It has to be experienced. But if you're so scared about the experience, it's just never going to happen. Therefore, you make yourself true. See, there aren't any good men out there. I don't feel chemistry with many people. Like again, it's that kind of subconscious phenomenon that happens. All right, the third shield is called the performer shield. Like you're just always on. I have to say, early on in my dating career, this was me. Um, you hide behind charm and success stories and humor and you look awesome on dates. You look amazing. Like you know how to dress the part, do the part. Most people want to ask you back out on a date, or like if you're a man, you just charm the woman to death. You know exactly how to gain approval. But really, deep down, especially when it's done in excess, there's a fear of rejection. So you just want to be liked. You want to be you. So you're the performer that needs the clapping and the audience, cheering for you. But it leads to showing only the best version of you, not the real one. And it's like people never really see the real you. So then there's this notion of feeling disconnected in the end, like they never really truly met you. And vulnerability is the real magnet. It's not perfection. So that's something to really keep in mind. All right, the fourth shield, I call it the guarded heart shield. It's the fear of repeating the past. Oof, okay. This is where your armor is really on so thick that no one can possibly make a dent in it. I mean, you have that protection on so tight, and it keeps emotional doors locked due to betrayal, divorce, abandonment, or deep loss. And you may avoid emotional risk by just staying in casual or safe dynamics. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she definitely had the shield a little bit. We were talking about it because I asked her, I said, do you have any patterns of men that you're attracted? She's like, not really. They're all kind of different. They look different. They're different situations. And she's like, I don't know, like somehow they always just end up like being in transition. They move away, or they're just not at a job that they want to stay at. And she didn't see it. She didn't see it that that was a pattern. And I said to her, I said, well, usually that is a pattern. She's like, well, how? I said, well, think about it. You are attracting guys who are in transition, who you can keep an arm's length at. And she also said that a lot of these guys didn't live in her hometown. So on top of it, they were like kind of honeymoon transitions. So every time she would see him, they would be magical and awesome until they weren't. Over time, it got exhausting, and then they end up moving on. But that was her way of keeping it safe. And I said, is it safe to assume that a lot of these men were not available in some way, shape, or form? Like maybe physically not available, emotionally unavailable. She's like, oh my gosh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. I said, is it possible that you're not available? And she paused and she said, yeah, I don't think I have been. And she didn't even realize that what she was putting out is what she was getting back. And these kind of dynamics is what I call safe because it keeps you from really getting deep with someone. And you might even say if you have the shield, like I want to love, but energetically your signals say stay back. So it's actually kind of confusing for people who want to be closer to you. And healing the past is the key to creating a future with this one. Okay, and the final hidden love shield is, and there's more by the way, but these are just the most common that I see, is the time ticking bomb shield. It's like this pressure to get it right. Now, this is a different time bomb than if you are in your 20s or 30s and you're trying to have a baby and you have a biological clock ticking. This is a different clock. This clock has to do with I only have so much time left on Earth clock. There's this urgency to rush or control the dating process so they can get to the boyfriend or get to the girlfriend. They just want to lock down a relationship in fear of being alone. And so the focus becomes more outcome based rather than experience. And that creates more tension instead of connection. And this can scare off a lot of potential partners because there's an intensity and desperation with it. And there's like a checklist almost mentality. It's like, okay, you got this, you got this, you got, okay, we're going to lock it down, and then there's no like even emotional attachment with it. It's just getting into a relationship for the sake of doing it. And true love flows when you're present, not racing the clock. And that at the end of the day is really, really the thing. And I find that this shield is really common with people who have only had long term relationships and not real dating experience. So they're going on dates to lock something in as a long term relationship because they never really just dated for the sake of dating or dating themselves, as I call it, just so that they get to know themselves better and they can pick the right partner this time around. All right. I hope you wrote some of that down for our call if we do have that call and we can kind of peel back the layers a little bit to help you come up with a plan. So I want to read a email that I got that just highlights one of these hidden love shields. She says, I'm 47, divorced for 5 years, and I've built a great life on my own. I have a successful career. I own my own house. I take myself on vacations. And if something breaks in the house, I fix it or figure it out. Everyone tells me how strong and together I am. And I guess I am. But in truth, I'm exhausted and I'm lonely. And I've been dating on and off, and I constantly hear, wow, you're amazing, but you don't seem like you need anyone. I mean, one guy even told me I felt unreachable, like I didn't leave space for him, and that crushed me. The thing is, I don't mean to keep people at an arm's length. I think I just got so used to surviving on my own that I don't know how to be in a relationship where I'm not the one doing everything. I want to share my life with someone, but every time I try, I feel myself pulling back or over functioning like I have to prove I'm still in control. How do I let someone in without feeling like I'm losing myself or giving up the independence I worked so hard for? Is that even possible? Is that even right? Susie. Well, first of all, Susie, that's such a beautiful email. Thanks for writing that. And I always love when people write in and give me some scenarios that I can help you with. So, by the way, I encourage all of you, you can go to askkimmy.com and give me a letter. Show me what is going on with you. So, again, maybe we can hop on a call from there. Or you might hear your problem being solved on this podcast. So, I just want to thank you for your honesty, Susie. I can feel the strength in your words, but also the ache underneath. And I just want to say you're not alone. And this is why I wanted to read it on the podcast because you listening, I'm sure you relate to her letter. What you described is something I see all the time with incredible, capable later in life daters I work with, especially women who have built a life from the ground up after heartbreak, death, divorce, or years of flying solo. I mean, certainly that was the case with me. Never in a million years did I think I was going to have my own business and do what I'm doing right now and helping other people until I went through it. And yeah, like over time, you really learn to be independent. And not only that, it becomes your identity too. You've learned to take care of everything and everyone. And that is resilience. And it got you here and it served a purpose for you to survive in some way. So celebrate that. But here's the truth: no one tells us this. What protected you before might now be what's keeping you disconnected. Again, it's the default button that served a purpose, but in this department, it is not. That, like, I've got it handled energy is powerful, but in love, it can feel like a closed door. That's the shield. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because connection requires space, space for receiving, not just doing, for being, not just performing. And I know how scary that can feel. Letting someone in after years of independence can feel like almost losing control. But what if it's not about giving up your strength and instead about expanding it? There's a reframe for you. It's an expansion. And actually, that having control is what keeps you tightly wound. And this notion where everyone feels like you got it and that they can't even help you. So you're maybe complaining about not attracting people who help you and that you have to do it all, but you're the one that's creating it by doing it all, right? So true intimacy isn't a threat to your independence. It's a chance to be strong together when you find that right person. So here's some tips, and this is for all of you who can relate to this. Start small. Practice receiving in almost low stakes ways. You know, let someone open a door for you, accept a compliment without like punting it, ask for help when you don't technically need it. It's not dumbing down. It's just allowing people to help you. And these micro moments teach your nervous system that it's safe to be supported. And, you know, they open the door for love to walk in. It's like, I mean, using that metaphor. The other thing I would say is slow down. Allow people to really see you by noticing who is noticing you. And because that busybody worker energy, like you're missing opportunity and you're going so fast that you start numbing out, and then again you're not connecting to the world. So work on being more present versus in your head or outcome oriented. And the final thing I'll say, and this probably sounds weird, but just practice being silly. I know that sounds silly, but your need for control has got to be loosened with levity and laughter and fun. And you'll also have way more fun dating in the process. And remember, you do not have to do it all alone anymore. Find other people who can lift you up. Find other singles that you can go out with and flirt with. Find other people who can support you. And when you're ready, everybody is going to be rooting for you. The right people will be rooting for you. So when you drop the love shields and you stop trying to predict love and just allow yourself to experience it, that's when all this magic happens. Well, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for joining me today. As always, this has been the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. And if you want to know more, make sure you go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com. And if you recognize that you have one or more of these love shields that is preventing you from finding love or even the right love, definitely take advantage of that private call with me. Just click the link you see in the show notes, and we will map out a dating plan to override some of these patterns. And remember, working on you is working on your dating life. That's all for now.